Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today's going to be my weekly makeup basket. This is going to be the last weekly makeup basket for a while. I'm not going to be able to do one next weekend because I'm going to be on a cruise, but I do plan on doing what I traveled with, like what makeup I used when I went on the cruise. So I'll try and get a video like that up for you guys. So before we get started, I quickly want to talk about what I'm wearing on my nails. I am wearing a nail polish that I picked up from July's polish pickup, and this is from Anchor & Heart Lacquer, and it's called Hello Jello Hangover. And then on my accent nail, I'm wearing a polish from Cupcake Polish, and this is in the color Magic. I'm gonna go in no particular order. I just have my little basket here. So the first thing I see on top, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull all three of these out because I think these were the only eyeshadow palettes that I used. The first one is from Tarte, and it's the Don't Quit Your Daydream palette. A couple people talk about this palette, and they said it was a really nice neutral palette. It's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. So I have a little bit of shine on all over my lid. Actually, underneath that, I went in with the color Strive, but then I put Runway and Work into my crease, and it was kind of blending in with this color Strive. I think if I would have put a white base underneath this, it would have made that color pop. So I decided to top it off with a little bit of this Shine On shade, which is this really pretty, like, pearly champagne shimmer shade, which is perfect for all over the lid. That's actually a really nice highlighter. I think that's why they put a bigger pan of that, because it's meant to be like a highlighter. But I really like these shadows. I think I actually may travel with this palette, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm deciding between this one and a couple other ones. So the next one I used this week is the Too Faced Sugar Pop palette. I'm not sure if this is still available. I also picked this palette up when it was on sale. This pretty much has a lot of really nice spring colors. I love this color Macaroon and this color Blue Raspberry. I may actually use Blue Raspberry in next month's Get Ready With Me, because I just really like that shadow. I really like the color of that shadow, especially for the summertime. I think this is a really fun palette. I just love these little tin palettes from Too Faced. And then the last palette that I played around with this week, I believe I wore this in a couple of videos, is the Tarte Pro To Go palette. I was really interested in picking up the Tarte like Pro palette, the big one that came out, but I wanted to test this out first just to see what the formula was like. So far, I really like these shadows. This color Dominate is really pretty. I have worn this all over the lid. I really like this crisp color. It's a nice warm like crease transition color. Hype and Boss are also really nice shades. Those are those two down there. They're really nice like lid shades. I seem to have a lot better experience with like the smaller Tarte palettes than some of those larger Tarte palettes. So I typically stick to these smaller palettes, but I may end up buying like that big the big Tarte palette that they had. So I used two blushes this week. The first one is from Sleek Makeup, and this is just one of their single blushes in the color Coral. I really like this. It's a very muted coral in my opinion. So it's this nudie orange color. I hope you guys can see that, but I really do like these Sleek blushes. I did an entire haul on all of the Sleek blushes that I picked up. I pretty much picked up every single color that they have available in the single blushes. I believe Sleek Makeup is now sold at Ulta, so I would definitely look into those if you've been interested in trying Sleek. I don't, however, like any of their highlighters. I do own two of their highlighting palettes, and I personally don't like any of the highlighters, but I do really recommend the blushes. Even though they look crazy in the pan, because they're pressed a little bit harder, it's gonna pick up really nicely on the brush, so you're not gonna get this over pigmentation. It's not a super soft blush, and I really like that, because when I first saw all of the Sleek blushes, they just look intensely pigmented, but they actually pick up really nicely on a brush, and they apply really nicely on the cheeks. And for somebody who has oily skin, blush typically doesn't wear a long time on my cheeks, and this formulation does. And then another blush that I tried out this week, this is from BH Cosmetics. This is actually the first product I've ever tried from BH Cosmetics, and this is the Floral Blush. This is a duo cheek color in the color Caribbean Coral. So it has this really pretty pink flower with some kind of coral orange on the outskirts. And the way I use this is I just swirl it together. And this is actually what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. I did go in very lightly with this blush because it is pretty pigmented. One thing I will say though is I've been wearing this blush for a couple of hours. In person it's a little bit more apparent, but it's definitely died down from what I originally put it on. So I've been wearing this blush for about 4 hours, and it definitely is wearing away a little bit quicker. I don't think it's going to last a full 8 hours. I think if I wanted to go out with this blush, I may need to reapply it if I kind of wanted to revive it, but I didn't necessarily wear away immediately. So it's doing a pretty good job. And so I have I just have 2 highlighters here for you guys because I use one of these several times. This is from Makeup Revolution. This is one of their shimmer bricks. I believe this is in the color Radiant. I think I picked up the one that's a little bit more on like the goldeny bronze side, and I used this several times this week. I am using it on my cheeks today, but I have used this maybe once or twice this week already, and I like it because of course it has the different strips and you can kind of customize your color. This is really soft and buttery and just very pigmented. I'd heard several people talking about this highlighter, so I decided to give it a go. Sorry there guys, that's a terrible swatch there. So I decided to give it a go, and so far I like it. I feel like it is a bit powdery. There's definitely better highlighters out there. This isn't like a baked gelée like formula or anything like that, so it is a little bit more on the powdery side, but that's nothing that a setting spray can't fix. So again, that is what I'm wearing today. I am wearing it in my inner corner. I do have it on top of a cream base, but so far so good. And then the last highlighter I tried this week is from Wet n Wild. This is the Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in the color Golden Flower Crown. I did pick up all 4 of the new shades for these highlighters. I wasn't necessarily impressed when these first came out. I believe Precious Petals is the shade that they came out with when it was like the limited edition shade, but I really like this shade. It's kind of like a champagne-y like peachy shade, and I also like that these are permanent. So I believe that they are available on Ulta. I believe Ulta carries Wet n Wild, and I think I've seen all 4 shades on the Ulta website. You can always get 20% off Ulta whenever they do a coupon, and then Wet n Wild always has coupon codes on their website. So I would definitely pick them up, but I would wait for a coupon code, especially since they're not limited edition. I would hold off and wait for a sale to pick those up. Sorry, there's my cat. I have my window open, so he loves just staring out the window whenever I have it open. So I actually tried out 2 foundations this week. This is the Hourglass foundation in the color Nude. I had a couple of foil packets of this, and what I like to do is I have a whole bunch of these little like plastic containers because I am a Perfectly Posh consultant, so sometimes people like to ask for samples, so I use these containers to make samples for people. So what I like to do is every time I get a couple of like foil packets of something, because sometimes one foil packet is not enough to test out or fully try out a product, especially for foundations. I feel like a foil sample definitely doesn't contain enough product, so I like to empty it out into these little containers here. I definitely think that this is a foundation that you only need a little bit of it and it goes a long way, but it's definitely not my favorite foundation because it kind of seemed to suck the moisture out of my skin. And I'm oily, so you would think that's a good thing, but it felt heavy on my skin. It felt like there was definitely something on my skin, and every time I like made some type of expression, I felt like my foundation was gonna crack off. That's how heavy or how drying this felt on my skin. Quite honestly, I really didn't like it. And then I got a sample of the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is in the color Light Beige. This is actually what I'm wearing on my face today, and I really like this foundation. I wanted to get a sample of this because I'd heard that this basically is a very lightweight foundation and that it feels and looks just like your skin. So I wanted to give it a shot, especially on my really oily skin, to see how it would wear. And so far so good. And this is a pretty hefty, like, deluxe size. It does have a little pump, which I thought was cool. I only used 2 pumps of this little sample, so I wonder how many pumps are in this little container. I'll definitely let you guys know how much is in one of these little deluxe size samples. But so far I'm really liking this foundation, and I can't wait to play around with it a little bit more. And then the powder that I used to set both of those foundations is the Wet n Wild pressed powder, and this is in the color Neutral Buff. I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's a very soft and lightweight powder. I really like it because it really gives my face kind of like an airbrush look whenever I'm wearing some type of liquid foundation, which I don't wear that often, but I've been experimenting with more liquid foundations, and so far I really like this powder, and I've tried it with both of these foundations, and I really like the way it looks on both of these foundations. This kind of felt like it added a little bit more moisture into the Hourglass foundation, but it wasn't enough to take away the dryness from this foundation, but it did work really well with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I have one more powder to talk about. This is the Kat Von D Lock-It Blotting Powder, and I had to purchase the color Light because when I looked at the shade that was deeper than this, it was a little bit too dark for my skin tone. Even though this looks very white or light, I feel like it kind of blends away really nicely into the skin, and especially because I only really use this powder on my nose and on my forehead to kind of blot and mattify. I don't really use this all over my face. I feel like it's okay and that this color works. First of all, I love the packaging. I absolutely love the packaging. I like that it has a mirror, and I also like that this is refillable. I think I'd only used it once or twice before the last makeup basket, and I hadn't really formulated an opinion on it, but so far I like it, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's worth the money because it is a little bit more of a pricey powder. I did try the Urban Decay, like the De-Slick powder. I'm not sure if that's around the same price point, but I also like that powder. There is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I think this does a little bit better of a job at mattifying than the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, because the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, it works, but it doesn't last that long. I feel like this powder definitely lasts a little bit longer in terms of mattifying my skin and keeping it matte. So I have 2 lip products for you guys. Well, this is, I kind of just consider one. The first one is what I'm wearing on my lips, and this is one of the Bare Minerals, like the liquid lipsticks. I forget the name of the liquid lipstick, but this is in the color XYZ. This is one of their matte liquid lipsticks. And then the other 2 products I have here, one is from NYX, and this is a lip liner in the color Pumpkin. I love this lip liner. This is a gorgeous ready orange lip liner with a whole bunch of shimmer in it. So hopefully you guys can see that on camera, but there's like this goldish shimmer kind of running through the lip liner, and it's a shimmer. It's not glitter, so it's not chunky or anything like that. This is pretty much going to give you the effect of a metallic lip. So I feel like it's very trendy. I've really been into like my peachy shades and my orange shades, so I decided to pull this out, and I wore this all over my lips. So I lined my lips and then I filled in my lips, and then I added, this is from NARS. This is their lipstick in the color Orgasm, and it's a very sheer lipstick, but it does have that gold shimmer that runs through it. So that's Orgasm right there. Like I said, it's a very sheer lipstick with a whole bunch of gold shimmer that kind of runs through the lipstick. But the combination of these 2 is just perfect. Now, I don't think you necessarily need NARS Orgasm. I feel like this lip liner works on its own with just a clear lip gloss on top to kind of amp up the shine a little bit, or you could wear it on its own, even though on its own I feel like it's a little bit drying. I personally wouldn't wear this on its own because I have very textured lips and I have very dry lips, so that's the reason I wouldn't wear it on its own. But I already had a mini sample of this NARS lipstick, so I love pairing these 2 together. But again, I think this is a great product. It's kind of trendy. It's perfect. I think it's perfect for the summertime. On camera, I don't think it's showing up as bright as it is in person, but it is this very vivid, like reddish orange. Definitely leans more on the orange side. And I want to see these lip liners are only like $2.99. So if you wanted to experiment with that whole metallic lip, I would definitely look into that lip liner. So that's it. Those are all the makeup products that I used throughout this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Please let me know down in the comment section which products you've been testing out, which products you guys have been trying, and your thoughts and opinions on them. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I do currently post 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.